The first part of the debate will be a 2-minute statement by each candidate. And instead of introducing everybody at the table, I'll introduce them as we go through each segment. So I'm going to ask the first opening statement to be presented by John Dombrowski. John?
Thank you. My name is John Dombrowski. I've been an at-large councilor for the last 6 years. I want to thank Fitchburg State College and President Antonucci, Sentinel Enterprise, Jeff McMenemy for hosting this debate. I was driving with my daughter the other day, and she saw a lot of the signs that are currently littering our roadways, I guess. And she asked me why I wanted to be on the city council. And I think that's probably a question at some point in time we all will have to answer tonight. But I told her that I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to make a positive difference in people's lives. You don't get any dress rehearsals in life. You got one shot. There are many important and challenging issues facing the city. We've got current news that state aid is going to be cut fairly significantly. We're currently addressing 2 administrative consent orders requiring great reconstruction to the infrastructure, and we're in the process of overhauling our zoning. As a member of the Finance Committee, the Legal Affairs Committee, and the Drinking Water Oversight Committee, I've been in a position where I've been dealing with these issues as an attorney, 19 years, and a business owner, property owner, more importantly, a husband and father of 2. I think I bring a lot of practical experience that will help me assist the city through these difficult times. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you very much for watching.
I'll now ask Claire Frida to make an opening statement. Claire?
Thank you, Dr. Antonucci, Fitchburg State, Jeff and Marisa for bringing us to the people, most importantly, so that they can hear our views, what we like to do, and give them an opportunity before the election to call us if they have questions about where we stand. My name is Claire Frida. I've been serving Leominster for over 21 years. I understand what you care about because you tell me in the grocery store, city functions, in the schools, and when I'm doing my job. You care about keeping your jobs, your property taxes, your children's education, and your grandchildren's education. You care about the conditions of your roads and your public safety. I first became involved in public office when I started on the school committee 21 years ago because I had concerns about education. During my tenure on the school committee, we managed to build an addition to Northwest School, the Johnny Appleseed School, and the Center for Technical Education. Even though we had financial constraints and a poor economy, we were still successful. We also set the stage for the Sanderson School, which was built a short time later. I also led the way to building soccer fields in Sanderson after staying in the school. With the partnership with the mayor, Roger Brooks, and Cal appointed the DPW over 12 years ago, we have beautiful fields there today, and they're always filled with our kids enjoying their games. After 6 years on the school committee, I successfully ran for city council representing Ward 3. As a member of the city council, I have served on every subcommittee and served as the chair of most. I was the second female to chair the finance committee and gave up this position to become the city council president. I have been the only female to serve 2 years as council president, and while president, I arranged the first videotaping of the meetings to enable the public to see their elected officials during discussions and votes on issues that affect the entire community. I have authored legislation to keep our children safe, assist our elderly, and protect the integrity of our neighborhoods. I wrote legislation to protect our firefighters and neighbors by enabling the fire department to do spot checks of chemical storage and their uses. An explosion in my ward warranted this action, and I made it happen, and is now a model for other communities. I authored legislation for seniors to work off part of their tax bill by volunteering their time in city positions, a win for both sides. We were the first of 10 communities to do this program. I authored legislation to protect our neighborhoods with adult entertainment and unsightly cell towers. When budget cut the music program, we stepped to the plate to find funding for these programs. Look at the end today. As a member of the Leominster Rotary Club over 15 years, I've heard the needs in our community, and we've addressed many of them. When I became a councilor in '93, I didn't just attend 2 meetings a month. I attended everything possible. I took courses at the National League of Cities and attained a platinum level of leadership. First nationwide and the only one in Massachusetts to serve as my local government. I served on the executive board of the MMA and served as the first councilor and president of the organization in 2000. I served on the local government advisory council for over 14 years. A council that meets with the governor once a month by constitution to discuss legislation how it's going to affect our city and our communities. Due to my leadership skills, I was awarded a JFK School of Government, Harvard University Fellowship. I'm a real estate appraiser and broker by profession and associated with Frigal Associates over 30 years. I know what values are, what taxes are, how they affect both of us. The foreclosure issue will continue for a while, and this is a serious concern for all of us. I fielded over 4,000 constituent calls, I've debated and voted over 21 budgets, I've attended high school graduations, police and fire graduations, musical Eagle Scout ceremonies, and the list goes on. This is who I am, and I ask for your vote on November 3rd so I can continue to serve.
Thank you, Fred. I'll now call upon Jim Lanciani for his opening statement. Jim?
Thank you very much. I'd like to begin by thanking the Fitchburg Sentinel, Fitchburg State Teachers College, and the LATV for providing the opportunity for you to not only see me, but also to hear me. I bring to you approximately 14 years of service as a city councilor, beginning by being city councilor at Ward 3 back in the 80s, and here in the 90s and 2000 as a city councilor at large. I have been on many boards in the city of Leominster, served on the Antonucci Home Care Corporation Board, served as the president, served with Mark, served with Project Apples. I'm involved in many activities other than being on the city council. But I love being a city councilor, and I've been doing it, as I said, for 14 years. I consider myself to be a voice of reason, and I say that because I will listen. I will listen to what you have to say, and I will take and I will look into what you have to say. You may not like the answer, but I will be honest up front and let you know that what you hear is what is being said to you as the truth. I provide many opportunities because I go to as many meetings as I possibly can. There is only one night that I am not at home out attending meetings, and that is Friday, starting the weekend. Other than that, I attend meetings, listen to what's going on. I have a very exceptional rapport with department heads, and I take and I listen to what is being said. 2010 is going to be a very difficult year. The state does not have the monies to continually help in cities and towns. What are we going to do? We, city councilors who have the experience with the city council, and those of us who are elected to be your councilors, are going to work not only with the mayor, which we always do, but with the department heads to make Leominster a better community and to continue providing the services that we have done so in the past. Leominster is very fortunate We did not have to lay anybody off. But the departments, the unions, all took and sat at the table and made concessions which benefit each and every one of you. I, just like you, pay taxes. We have a very, very important decision coming up in November. November 24th, we are going to be having a discussion to set a tax rate. We all know our tax values have gone down on our homes. What are we going to do? We are going to listen. We are going to listen to our chief assessor and to our financial advisors within the city. And we're going to make the best decision that we can to continue helping each and every one of you. We all pay taxes. We all want what is best for each and every one of us. I ask that you consider keeping me in the office of City Councilor-at-large. November 3rd, I am the third name on the ballot. Thank you very much.
Our next opening statement will be by candidate Patrick Pearl. Patrick?
I would like to start by thanking the Sentinel Enterprise, Fitchburg State College, LATV, the moderators, and my fellow at-large candidates for facilitating this important forum. By way of background, I am 28 years old and a lifelong resident of Leominster. I have both my bachelor's and a master's degree from Assumption College. I own a home on Manchester Street, and I am married. I might add that my lovely wife Carolyn has been a tremendous support during this endeavor. I have served on the Board of Health for 6 years and have chaired that board for the past 2. I now look to expand my capacity as a public servant by seeking election to the City Council as one of your 4 at-large representatives. As a councilor, I look forward to working with the mayor, my fellow councilors, department heads, and especially you, the people of this community, in order to achieve viable solutions to many difficult problems. I plan to address these issues with creative thinking and common sense. I will encourage using tried and tested fiscal fundamentals to thwart the cuts that we are going to be having to our municipal budget. And if elected, I promise to bring energy, consistency, and a new generation of leadership to Leominster City Council. Thank you very much.
The next opening statement will be by Josh Kennedy. Josh?
Thank you. I'd also like to take this opportunity and first thank Fitchburg State College and President Antonucci and Jeff McMenemy and Marisa Donelan from the Sentinel Enterprise and my friends at LATV and everyone here tonight. Thank you so much for coming out to this forum. This is the only forum we as candidates have before our election 2 weeks from now. And it's important for each of us to introduce ourselves. So I'm going to introduce myself. For those of you that don't know me, and for my friends and people in the community watching on TV, my name is Joshua Sanderski. I was born in Southbridge, Massachusetts, by my mother and stepfather. Raised me here in Leominster since I was 5 years old. So I've been through the school systems, class of 2000 in Leominster High School. I got out of high school and went directly into the security enforcement field. I dabbled a little bit in property management, and then I decided to go for my CDL and drove a school bus. Also worked with a company out of Fitchburg, paving and excavating. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. And of course, the most important things in my life are my relatives, my family. I have a beautiful wife. She's at home taking care of our 2 boys. She's in college full time. Her name is Alicia Sanderski. She's the love of my life. Otherwise, I would never have married her. And my oldest is my stepson. He is 6 years old. And my son, he's 2. His name's Landon. Why I'm here tonight is very simple. I'm a blue-collar hard worker with common sense. I was on the school committee in 2004 to 2006. So what I can bring and what I can do is very simply hear people out, listen to what people's concerns are, always be available, whether by phone or email or in person. And I plan on doing my best for the next 2 years as the next city councilor at large. Thank you so much.
Antonucci will now make her opening statement. Jenny?
Thank you very much. I want to thank the Sentinel Enterprise for having this forum tonight, and Mr. Antonucci from the Fitchburg State College for moderating. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ginny Tossi, and I am a lifelong resident of Leominster and a graduate of Leominster High School. It would be both an honor and privilege to represent you and your family as councilor-at-large for another 2 years. During my service on the City Council, I have been chairwoman of several committees, including public safety, schools, city property, small business, and solar energy exploratory committee. In addition to my chairwoman duties, I have also served on finance, ways and means, and presently legal affairs. I am proud of what the city has accomplished while I served on the council for 12 years. By using free cash for one-time expenditures such as public safety equipment, building repairs, and land purchases, we have saved taxpayer dollars by avoiding interest on these purchases. We have over 1,000 acres of open space to help moderate growth, protect our watershed, and preserve the city's natural beauty. We built Skyview Middle School, which provided smaller class sizes throughout the school system and was completed under budget. We purchased new ambulances and fire equipment to provide the fire department with needed tools to save lives. We upgraded the DPW equipment so that they can keep our roads safe. We supplied our police department with networked computer systems, enhanced 911 capabilities, and updated the fleet of police cruisers so that they may protect us. However, there is still much more to be done. Ensuring our residents that our drinking water meets the state standard is a primary concern to all of us. The quality of our water is an issue that cannot be ignored. Protecting our water supply and making sure all steps are being taken to do so is why I supported to apply for a no-interest loan and available stimulus money to build a new filtration plant and make the upgrades needed to be in compliance. Continuing to use all sources available to save money and reduce the burden on the taxpayer has always been my goal. One of the challenges we face in the city is more state cuts and local aid, which will threaten our progress and growth. That is why during the strong economy I supported paying off debt, restructuring our city loans, and the creation of a stabilization account. With smart planning and disciplined spending, especially in this economic climate, I will continue to make sure we provide the best services to our residents and to keep our property taxes low. Currently, I am working with the Energy Committee to find ways to lower our operating expenses through energy conservation. This past year, energy efficiency and usage in our municipal and school buildings have been implemented. Saving money in areas such as this is being fiscally responsible, and I will continue to support exploring more renewable energy options and grants that will save the city thousands of dollars annually. Recently, we have been given the draft of zoning changes in the city from VHB. As you know, the lives of the city is vital to our progress and our future. This is a very complex document that needs to be right from the beginning, since it affects the residents and the businesses in our community. I have the knowledge and experience to work on the zoning to protect the neighborhoods and help the businesses by keeping jobs in Leominster. I feel that my efforts and time spent on the council has helped make Leominster a better place to live by recognizing and solving the fiscal challenges involved in managing an efficient city government. I believe I have been responsible to the needs of the citizens of Leominster and have expressed their views by my votes on the council. I have taken the lead on issues such as public safety and concerns of our senior citizens as well as the youth of our community. With this in mind, I ask you to vote for me, Ginny Tossi, for councilor-at-large, and I am number 6 on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final opening statement will be by Susan Shalfo-Zephyr. Sue?
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all who are here in the auditorium this evening. Thank you for those folks working at home, watching at home. Thank you, Fitchburg Sentinel, for sponsoring this again, President Antonucci for moderating. My name is Shalfo-Zephyr, and I'm running for councilor-at-large. I believe that Leominster can be an even better place to live, to work, and to raise a family. For many years, I have acted on this belief by working to improve the community, and that's a simple reason, and that's why I'm running for city council at large. I'm a lifelong resident of Leominster. I'm a graduate of Leominster High School. I worked my way through Assumption College to earn a bachelor's degree and went on to earn a master's degree in business. I live on the west side with my husband Ed, who is a local business owner, and my 3 daughters. I am a business manager for WGH Educational Foundation in Boston, and have been for many years. During this time, I have also volunteered and worked with a number of local organizations, including Leominster Youth Soccer, Library Building Committee, Our Father's House, the Leominster Land Trust, and the No Town Citizens Action Committee. I've always been involved in politics, but I really became an activist several years ago. I got my start in public service by helping to organize the No Town Citizens Action Committee, which we formed a group of citizens to halt construction of a technology park in Fitchburg that was proposed to be built in the watershed of the No Town Reservoir. That was a serious threat at the time that could have potentially damaged our major water supply, the No Town Reservoir. So I worked with other local residents, Conservation Commission members of the City Council to block that development. We were successful in doing that, and the No Town remains our viable major source of water. It does have its problems. We're working to clean those up, but it still is our major water supply. That experience taught me a very important lesson, that the way to really accomplish things is to work together with a cross-section of people from the community. And you have to work collaboratively to achieve what is best for the community. Since then, I have remained dedicated to working to make Leominster an even better place. As a former Ward 4 councilor and chair of the Finance Committee, I understand neighborhood concerns. As a lifelong resident of Leominster and mother of 3, I am committed to keeping our community healthy and strong. As a trained financial manager, I will bring professional skills and experience to work for you on the City Council. And I will be a leader on the quality of life issues that we all care about. You can trust me to stand up for your priorities on the City Council. I ask for your support on Tuesday, November 3rd, and for one of your 4 votes for councilor-at-large. Thanks very much.
You've heard the opening statements of each candidate. For those of you who may have just joined us, either at home or here in the auditorium, just to remind you that this is a debate for the City Council-at-large candidates here in Leominster. It's a wonderful opportunity for us as citizens to hear the views of each candidate. Again, it is being brought to you by the Sentinel Enterprise and by Fitchburg State College. And we're pleased to join with the city officials of Leominster in having this debate this evening. The next portion of the program will be questions from our moderator, Jeff McMenemy, and our moderator, Marisa Donelan. What we will do is I will call upon the moderator to ask a question to a specific candidate. That candidate has 2 minutes to respond. For this segment of the debate, when I see the red light go on, I'm going to say time, which means stop. We're on a very tight schedule. We were a little lenient on the time in the first part, and that was good because we got to hear everybody. But this next piece, we're going to tighten it up a little. I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just trying to be a proper. Okay. We're going to begin the questioning by Jeff McMenemy, and his first question will be to Claire Frieda.
Councilor, here in Leominster and in cities and towns throughout Massachusetts, public employees enjoy some benefits that many who pay their salaries do not. Things like long 3, 4, 5 weeks of vacation, 15 sick days, buyback sick time, clothing allowances, things of that nature. First of all, do you think those benefits are justified? And if you do, how can cities and towns, including Leominster, afford to keep paying for them when more and more people are saying it's simply not sustainable?
Being involved with the Mass Municipal, that's a major issue, as you probably know, as you mentioned, cities and towns. This past year, the governor and the legislature passed the possibility of allowing communities to get involved with the GIC program, Government Insurance Committee. And it's, the problem with that is that it has to be agreed upon by the unions. So the mayor is the chief executive of the city and does the negotiating with the unions. We have many unions in the city, and I believe he's in the middle of negotiating, and not an enviable position by any stretch of the economy the way it is. But there are certain issues and concessions that hopefully he'll be able to put through with the unions. It's not going to be easy. The local economy and people are worried about their jobs, but most of our officials do work hard. We haven't hired a whole lot of people in our community. A lot of hours overworked, but you never hear them say that. You know, our rec department, our fire department, our police, our DPW, just evidenced by the ice storm and a lot of the other issues that we have in our community. So on one side, yes, there are probably some communities that give a lot, but I think you need to look at the whole picture and see how many employees you actually have, and for the mayor to be able to negotiate with those unions.
Thank you, Claire. Our next question will be from the Leominster Bureau Chief, Marisa Donelan, to Jim Lanciani.
Councilor, school officials recently announced that they had expanded their proposal to the Massachusetts School Building Authority for repair at Leominster High School to renovation, which would include replacing the HVAC system, replacing windows, and adding 2 new science classrooms. The project would involve some significant local money up front with state reimbursement later. Would you support local funding for the project if it means asking voters to support an override? And if not, how do you address issues with the high school to modernize the building for future students and to protect its accreditation?
Well, first off, I think that what we need to know, and don't know yet, exactly what is going to be proposed and what is being thought of to be being done at the high school. As was told to us at a meeting that was held here a week ago, those questions haven't been answered yet. They have some answers. They know that doing the roof is going to be roughly $1 million, maybe a little more. The others, they don't know because what they're looking at, they have since talked with the MSBA to include the science classrooms that they're looking to expand on at the school. There's been talk of doing it in the front of the Appleseed restaurant that is there presently. And from what I have seen and from what I have heard, that would definitely hurt the restaurant. And as was told to us by the superintendent of A.E. lately, they are looking at other avenues. Until we have an exact picture of what they're looking to do and the cost estimates, I would be remiss to sit here and say that I would support this, that, or the other. We all know, and I perhaps more so, graduated from Carter Junior High School, Carter High School, back in 1949. We definitely need something to be done with the high school. There is no question. But I think what is proposed, the roof. Thank you.
It's time to build a new high school. Question from Jeff McMenemy to Patrick Pearl.
Mr. Pearl, the city of Leominster is the entity of many cities and towns in Massachusetts because it has millions of dollars in the stabilization fund. But the state is expected to cut local aid within the next few months. If it does, and you're talking about cuts for cities the size of Leominster and Fitchburg by as much as $2 million. If $2 million is cut in local aid, would you support having money taken from the stabilization fund, or would you rather see employees be laid off? To begin with, clearly, we don't want to see anybody getting laid off. I know that the city has not hired too many new people over the past 15 years or so. We've been working with less staff and only replacing those who retired. We haven't added to many of the departments at all. In fact, we've subtracted where we could, and that usually came when people were retired, and we just did not replace them. So laying off any more public employees is certainly something we're going to all try to avoid, I'm sure. In regards to the cuts, I don't think there's a question that we're going to be receiving some substantial cuts to the municipal budget. I think what's going to be important is to, number one, be fiscally responsible with what we have to work with. But I know that generally when people discuss budget cuts, we're going to be losing state aid, or where can we cut, where can we cut? And I think it's going to be imperative, especially for the next 2 years, to look and see how the city of Leominster can add to its tax base and to the revenue that's coming into the city. Now, we do have a very nice stabilization account, and certainly I feel that if it's feasible from all different perspectives to utilize that money in the short term as to avoid laying people off. But again, I think we need to look to add to the city's tax base. For instance, Jungle Road, the property there, if we could sell that, which currently we're paying for it, have somebody else come in and develop that property, add to the tax base. It's off of our coffers, and now we're getting revenue for that property, not only from the sale of it, but from the taxes that are getting generated from where we're purchasing.
Time. Thanks. Questions from Marisa Donelan to Josh Tennyson.
The biggest issue, or one of the biggest issues the council is taking on right now is the proposal to change the city zoning, and it's expected to last well beyond the election. So what specific experience and skills will you contribute to this discussion to change the city zoning to reflect modern business uses? And how will you work to protect existing residential neighborhoods?
Thank you, Marisa. The zoning issue is the current event that's going on in the city of Leominster. The experience I have to offer in regards to listening and deciding and planning of how the zoning is going to go, quite honestly, I cannot offer a professional point of view. When I was a member of the school committee for 2 years, I was fortunate enough to have experiences in working on some tough decisions. From my personal experience, I always felt then, and I still feel now, I just have the common sense point of view to offer, but keeping in mind in today's economy, how can we change something like zoning, but also not directly impact all families in Leominster in a negative way? When we were in the school committee and you redistrict and you change bus routes, or parents have to switch schools, it affects families. Small business owners and residents in Leominster would all be affected by zoning changes. Do we need to do it? Absolutely. Am I sure how to do it? No, I'm not. I'm not an incumbent city councilor. So I'm not privy to information or data to look at. But if elected, absolutely I will do my best. And that's all I can offer, to offer my opinion and debate in the city council chambers. Thank you.
Jeff will now ask a question to Ginny Tuss.
Councilor, Leominster schools at times have been identified as needing improvements in some student populations on MCAS scores. Do Do you think during your time as the council, the city council has supported the public schools as well as they could? And if not, where do you think the council could have supported with more funding the schools better?
I don't believe that the city council, as long as I've been on the city council, has ever not supported the schools. We have, back 8 years ago, when the schools were overcrowded classrooms and the teachers were overworked, we were going to put an addition on to Samoset. That was our first inclination of doing something to relieve the overcrowding in the schools. However, it came up that we were able to buy property, the land property on Prospect Street, and build a new school, which became Skyway Middle School. That alleviated quite a few classroom sizes down to none under 20, which before they were 26 to 32. And I think that my support on that project, and whenever the school department has to come down to ask for money to do renovations like we did at the Southeast School for the gifted and talented, that we supported that also. So I believe that the city council as a whole has supported all the schools.
Marisa, a question to Susan Jose.
The recent economic crisis has pushed many Leominster property owners out of their homes and businesses, and the city has a number of vacant and abandoned properties. What do you think needs to be done in the city to address blight, such as the former Carter School on West Street, an example of a privately owned building that is likely to value homes in the neighborhood?
I think the city is on the right track, taking a very aggressive approach to blight buildings. The mayor has made that a top priority. In terms of the Carter building, it's a question of money. There have been a lot of proposals put forward about the Carter building. It's a wonderful building. It's in a great neighborhood. I can envision many different uses for it, but it's a very expensive proposition to renovate and utilize. Some proposals have been brought forward for the Carter building, for example, the police station. There's been some housing proposals that have been brought forward. And the neighbors have actually not been happy with, or have voiced some opposition, I guess, certainly to the idea of having a police station located there. And, housing there, there would be traffic concerns. In order to deal with these blighted properties like the Carter building, we are going to have to find investors who are willing to make substantial investments in the community. The city is starting, I think, that trend by really going after, these blighted properties by contacting landlords who don't live in the city and getting them to at least make minimal repairs to buildings, keep them securely closed, that, vandals can't get in there and cause trouble. But it's a question of finding private investment and investors who are willing to come into the city and understanding that it will take a while for their investments to be repaid back.
Thank you. Jeff, a question to John Dombrowski.
Councilor, the city signed 2 long-term substantial contracts with companies to take care of the city's water filtration and to design a new water treatment plant and a water filtration plant. With such big contracts, how can taxpayers be sure that their money is being wisely used? And the city councilors really have the time and the expertise to monitor the spending and the science of water quality?
The short answer to that question is they can't. The city of Leominster is unique in that it has 3 water supplies, and the state law calls for the average of the city's water supply. So where we had a situation with 2 water supplies coming in with wonderful numbers, the Milltown Reservoir, which serves 55% of the city, had TGA general levels well and above This is something that, frankly, was kept from the taxpayers because our averages were always below the 800 bucks per day. When that came up, the city came up before the city council, and I'm very proud of the council and the drinking water oversight committee, for which I'm a member, that we exposed this and we brought the powers to be down and enforce the explanations, force the monitoring, ask the necessary questions. The no-bid 20-year contracts to deal with water are ridiculous. Nobody gets a 20-year contract, and if you don't have competition, if you don't have competitive bidding, you're not going to get the lowest price. The fact that we had decades and decades of non-compliance is outrageous, absolutely outrageous. I'm very much a critic of that, and the bottom line is that right now, as we sit here, the city council is the only independent body in the city of Leominster, and it is necessary for us to keep our foot on that issue.
Well, that completes the first round of questioning. Let's give our candidates a round. Before we start the second round, I just want to make some thank yous to my assistant, Gil Wyatt, from my office at the President's Office at the College for our organization of the activity here tonight. Thank you. David Clark from our IT department and also Councilor Fitchburg is handling all this tonight. David, thank you very much. And to our facilities department at Fitchburg State College and to the mayor of Leominster for their help. Thank you very much. Let's give them a round. And to our viewers at home, we welcome you to this debate, to our people here in the auditorium. Thanks for your participation. If you want to get first up-to-date news tomorrow morning about what happened tonight, get your Sentinel Enterprise and see good coverage in that tomorrow morning. We appreciate it, but more importantly, on November 3rd, remember to vote. In just an election where there's just council candidates, it's very important to get the vote out. So I remind everybody at home and here in the auditorium to vote on November 3rd. If you're not going to be around, get an absentee ballot. It's very easy to do so at the city clerk's office. Do it, vote. The vote does make a difference. So we'll begin the second round of questioning. We'll begin with Marisa asking a question to Claire Frida.
Councilor, the two of the biggest building priorities in the city of Leominster seem to be either the high school or the police station. They've been talked about for years. Would you support local money being spent on either project if it means taking from either the stabilization account or passing a Proposition 2.5 override? Or do you think either project should wait until the economy recovers?
As far as the schools go, we're in accreditation issue, so we all know that we have to do that. And I think for the most part, the community supports fixing that high school. We were talking about building a new school. I think we'd have a major problem. But I think the support for the renovations and doing it in a strategic way with a 70% reimbursement rate from the state SBA program is certainly going to be to our benefit. And then it'll be a school that will last 50 years once we finish that. The police station is, as we all know, is really an issue with the conditions there. I sat on this council back when we had to do the courthouse. There was a do-or-die situation. We had money that was put aside for the police station, and every judge, every attorney sat in that council chamber and asked us to please support the district court so we wouldn't lose it in the city of Leominster. We did that, and the police chief sat there and said, I will go along with that, but please don't forget us. I think that was 10 years ago. We've looked at a number of different sites. Councilor Lancy and myself have been on that committee for some time. And with the prospect of the General Road piece, the mayor is looking to possibly sell that, use the money to build a station, or renovate where they are and make a public safety building from the station through the garage area, would be a perfect situation. So hopefully we can use some creativity, put money together, use the 70% reimbursement for the school, and look at the police station and solve some of the issues with that as well.
Our next question is Jeff to Jim Lanciani.
Councilor, you mentioned that the mayor asked some of the unions for concessions in light of the fiscal situation. Do you think the mayor should continue to go to the unions to ask for more concessions, both short-term and long-term, to keep the city's budget fiscally sound? And do you think there should be a limit to what city employees can be paid?
There is no question, in my opinion, that the mayor is going to have to continue speaking with the unions, looking for some concessions. I don't know unless we've got something else in mind, that without raising taxes to such an exorbitant amount, I don't know how else we are going to be able to do things without seeking concessions from the unions to help us continue what we are doing within the community. The second part, Jeff, could I just have the second part again, please?
Sure. Do you think there should be a limit on the amount that public employees in the city can be paid?
Well, I think that is taking place, it has taken place with the cuts that were done and with the concessions that were done recently this past year. Some of the departments are having to pay more for their insurance. There's no question that we are all going to have to take and do a little more to help continue the needs that the city of Leominster has. I don't see any other way. There is no other way. The state is not going to help us. And as Councilor Dombrowski said earlier this evening, we've been notified that the cuts that are going to be coming very, very soon are going to be devastating. And you're looking at $600 million deficit. You're looking at billions, not just a billion, but billions of dollars in deficit from this state.
Our next question from Marisa to Patrick Crowe.
Some Leominster schools have repeatedly been identified as needing improvement because of low MCAS scores among some student populations. What role, if any, does the City Council play in the city's public education system? And would you put pressure on the mayor or the school department to make significant changes for student achievement? If so, how would you like to see Leominster schools change?
Well, to begin with, clearly, I know you realize this, the City Council doesn't have much to say on a regular basis about how the schools are run. Certainly, I believe everyone will share my opinion that we all hope and encourage these schools to perform at the highest levels, and especially come in as one of the best cities in the state of Massachusetts in their MCAS scores. Clearly, I think there's been some discussion over the years about how accurate the MCAS scores are in determining the actual levels of education that the students are receiving. I think the teachers in the city are committed and have been historically excellent. From the perspective of encouraging the mayor and the school committee, I suppose that we would, or I know that I would, as a city councilor, work to create new programs in any way that we could help. If we were able to find funding to create these programs, to keep the children here. I know that there's been some discussion recently about how charter schools are affecting our public schools. And we can work together to make sure that we raise those scores if that's going to be the basis on which the funding comes in. However, again, I would just like to say that I think that the schools do a fine job. Again, I know that Nadine Bickley and the school committee work very hard to ensure that we have the best education for our students. And other than that, like I said, I would help to encourage any kind of programs. If they came to us with a funding issue, then that's something that we would definitely have to look at. But other than that, it's kind of in their hands.
A question to George Sanderstein from Jeff McMenemy.
You know, as a Leominster High School graduate and a school committee person, a lot about the issues at the high school. Do you think there's any reasonable way to ask voters to support a Proposition 2.5 override for a major renovation at the high school? Or do you think it's more important to look for a new police station?
Thank you, Jeff, for asking that question. Having been on the school committee, was a great experience. It was an interesting one, and by all means, it taught me a lot. With that said, also being conservative-minded in today's economy, I absolutely, and let me make this clear, especially to my friend on TV, I do not support any override in this current atmosphere. When the weather changes, we do not know. Even the experts that we see on TV and hear on radio, they can only take the best guess. When the weather changes, if I happen to be still on the city council or not, when that would be the time that the school committee should have that debate and conversation. It's in their jurisdiction to, if they want to do a renovation, to talk about an override, work with the mayor, and then at that point, the city council should make that. But currently, just to say on the record, no, I don't support an override. And what was the second part of the question?
Does that go for the police station as well?
And the police station, yes, bottom line, yes. Support an override, I think, in today's economy for any of our building projects just is not so practical. But the police station, if you play the issues of the high school against the police station, I don't know, it seems to be brought up every time the mayor speaks in January. He mentioned it in his speech, we got to do something about the police station, and you hear councilors, and, we're all passionate about the public safety and supporting our officers. Reality is conditions have gotten a little better at the police station. That doesn't mean it's acceptable. So those are debates that we need to start seriously talking about when the time comes.
The next question is from Marisa Donelan.
The City Council over the past few years has not cut much or at all from Mayor Nazarel's budget, and many of the mayor's communications to the council are approved with few or no changes. Please describe a time when you went against a recommendation of the mayor or the city's administration, why you did, and what the result was.
I remember when I first became a city councilor, I believe it was the second year, and there was I believe a new position in the assessor's office that I believe was around $40,000. And at that time, we felt that the position was not needed, and we cut that out of the budget. It didn't make much of a difference in the overall tax base as far as bringing the taxes down, but that was one section that we did cut out early on in the council. And what was that it, or was there another? Usually there's 3 questions in one, so I'm just looking.
I think you got it all.
Okay.
That was a trick question.
It was, just 1 and 1. Thank you.
Good. The next question from Jeff to Susan Shallow.
The city has a single tax rate, as you know, which many people say is why Leominster is so business friendly. But at the same time, as the economy has soured, the amount of new businesses coming into the city has slowed down. Yet, the homeowners, many homeowners anyways, are struggling just to make ends meet. Do you think it's time, considering the economy and business development has slowed down, consider having a dual tax rate? If not, why not?
Business all over the state, all over the country is in slowdown. I don't think that those At this point, I would, I'm happy to have a conversation and a discussion about a dual tax rate. I think the single tax rate for residents and businesses and commercial properties in Leominster has worked really well. I think that's why we have such a thriving local economy. That's why we still have manufacturers providing jobs in Leominster. Yeah, that's why we still have the commercial and industrial base that we do. So, it's an interesting question. I think it's a good question, and certainly I would be open and willing to have a conversation about it and to explore that. But I think my position at this point would be that the single tax rate has really served the city well.
Marisa, questions of John and Russ?
Leominster, as you know, prides itself on its strong cash reserves in the form of a strong stabilization account and a typically healthy free cash return every year. Yet, with every budget, property taxes continue to rise, usually at a maximum of 2.5% every year. Would you support using some of the city's reserves to help defer the burden on taxpayers during this difficult economy? And why or why?
I might. I think there are things that we can do at the administrative level that we're not doing, which is one of the reasons I voted against the last budget. Certainly, we can revisit this Veolia 20-year deal. I think the city needs to stop relying on consultants so much. During my time on the city council, the council passed an ordinance allowing the various local planning boards, conservation commissions, zoning boards the ability to force a developer or an applicant to hire outside consultants. I also think we need to monitor our overtime a little bit more. If you look at the statistics, we spend maybe $1 to $1.5 million in overtime a year. That equates to $20,000 to $28,000 a week. And these are things that we seem to be getting better at now, but we, especially today, we need to look at them much higher. As far as using the stabilization funds, you don't really want to touch that money, and that's conventional wisdom. You don't really want to touch that money unless there's an emergency. If we get to a point where we're having to lay off key employees or we're facing a situation like that, obviously we need to revisit that issue. But I think that there are a lot of things that this city can do a little bit better than we are doing right now.
Thank you, John. Special thanks to our panelists, Jeff and thank you very much. Jeff McMenemy, our president, give me the call, editor of the Fitchburg State. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. Give her a round of applause. Time is moving along, and we're going to really close the debate with having each candidate give a closing statement. There was going to be a segment where I was going to ask questions of the candidates, but we went on a little longer, but I think we got a lot of those questions answered. Issues such as zoning, the public schools, the overrides, all of those questions were asked. And I think as the candidates give their closing statements, they may want to indicate what they feel the biggest challenges facing the city from their perspective, and also talk about why you should vote for them on November 3rd. That's what this is all about. But before we get to that, let me close by again thanking the Sentinel Enterprise for the wonderful cooperation. They do a lot of the planning that goes into this. It really is a great partnership in terms of civic engagement. The #1 local newspaper in the area, always willing to cover a political debate. And again, we thank you, Jeff, and the staff of the Fitchburg Sentinel for your good work. Thanks again. Let's give them a round. Fitchburg State College for its wonderful support of this activity. It's not about me as a faculty. And it's good to be here in Leominster tonight participating in this exercise in civic engagement. Well, we've come to the end. We're going to give each candidate 1 minute. Again, I'm going to exercise my moderator authority. If you go over the 7:30. So we have time for each candidate to give a 1-minute closing statement, and we're going to begin with Susan Shalfo-Zephyr. Sue?
Thank you very much. I just want to return to one question that was posed to Mr. Sanders, and it's part of my closing, and that has to do with the override for the high school renovation project. I think it would be foolish to not have a conversation about an override. We don't know what the impact would be for the renovation because we don't really know what the costs are. But I'd like to at least know what the cost of these proposed renovations are. The high school is in desperate need of science classrooms. It may not be anything that people in the community want to support because we don't know what the cost is, and there are very tough economic times across the community. But I think it's very important to have the conversation, and that would be something that I would really propose. Those of you who I work with across the community know how I work, and you know that I work very hard to produce results. I served on the city council and was a finance chair. I've worked with individuals and businesses from all across the community to raise over $1.2 million for our library and to protect our open space and water. I am committed to making Leominster an even better place to live and work and raise a family. I have a track record of collaborating with people from across the city to tackle problems, and as your city councilor, I will put your concerns first and foremost and immediately respond to your questions and issues.
You said it as you shall, so give her a round of applause.
Thank you. I just want to get back to one of the questions also. The budget has been in the past 10 years based on a performance-based budget, which has been level funded for a long time. And that's probably why we end up always passing it as is. I don't want people to think that we're not keeping an eye on it because there are questions when the department heads look down. So I just wanted to let you know that. Having a small business background, I know the importance of spending every dollar wisely and effectively. None of us is immune to the difficult times ahead. That is why my experience in business and being on the city council for 12 years makes me the best candidate for councilor-at-large. I will work especially hard to make sure our services are protected and fight to keep our tax rates low. I will continue to support public safety, education, and clean water. I thank you for your past support, and I look forward to once again serving. Please vote for me to be council.
Over to you, Council. Josh?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to offer the community, this is a short form, so please visit www.joshsanders.com to learn more about myself. I want to go back, or first of all, I'd like to respond to Ms. Shalfo comment about, in regards to the high school renovation and the override. I never said that I wouldn't have or be open to a conversation about it. What I did say was I am not supportive of having any override. That's what I did say. I'm always welcome to have a conversation about any issue here in the city. I do want to go back to a question again that Sue had discussed. There was a question that was asked about the tax rate. Do you support a single or dual tax rate? And yes, she will compensate about it, she had noted. But at the end of that, she ultimately did state that yes, she does support a single tax rate. I'm going to be on the record and let you know that people need a break here in Leominster. We have great businesses, we have a good economy. I would personally support a dual tax rate.
Vote for Josh. Josh, good job.
I would just like to once again thank everyone who made this forum possible this evening. Thank you very much. During the past 4 months, I've had the opportunity to walk the neighborhoods of Leominster and have had the opportunity to speak with many of you. I truly appreciate your hospitality, and I thank you for sharing those issues of most importance to you and your families. Having a fresh understanding of your concerns, I respectfully ask that you cast one of your 4 votes for Patrick W. Perla, Councilor-at-Large, so that I can bring your voice and a new generation of leadership to Leominster City Council. I sincerely appreciate your serious consideration. Thank you very much.
Councilor Freedom.
Thank you. I think what this is going to come down to is a vote of experience and support for new and innovative ideas. But I think we need to look at our budgets after adjusting for inflation. Local aid in fiscal 2010 is $1.3 billion below what it was in 2002 level. That's pretty scary. That's pretty important. 2011 is going to be worse than that by every indicator. And I just wanted to address some of the things that were brought up in Ward 3, because I think people, we're going to ask people to look at what we've done, or what I've done as a city councilor, in what people are saying up here and what we have performed. What Debbie Drive is going to be a store, and it was creatively done, incorporated with Mr. Vivenzi's Brooks Pond. It's in the MEPA review. It was done by the planning board cooperation. It was all done so that it won't cost the city of Leominster anything to put that store in, because the city has no money. And one's going through that, and they know that as well. So there are some issues. I ask you to vote.
And a vote to appoint Freedom.
When you're an elected official, before you take office, you take an oath. And that oath is to best serve the city, Leominster, to best serve the residents. That's what I try to do. Every vote I take is in the best interest of the city. I vote my conscience, and I try to serve for all the right reasons. I appreciate everybody coming down here tonight, and I appreciate any support you can give me. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that concludes the questioning and the statements by the candidates, and I'm sure all of you feel like I feel that each of these candidates this evening are working very hard to represent the city of Leominster. Whoever is elected, we wish them the very best. We wish each of you the very best in the few remaining weeks before the election on November 3rd. Again, on behalf of the Sentinel and Fitchburg State College and Leominster Access TV, we thank you for participating tonight. This made it a real good event. We heard a lot of comments, a lot of questions. Feel free to question the candidates after the debate. As some of them have websites, get on their website, follow along with them. The activity we saw tonight outside was really enacting this kind of community. That's terrific. There's a strong interest in the city. The city is a wonderful city. Does good things because of leaders like these candidates, and people who have served on the city council for many years, as well as the mayor and the state rep. So again, we thank you to our viewers at home. Thank you for watching and listening. We wish you were here with us. To our people in the audience, thank you for coming out tonight. But don't forget, November 3rd, Election Day in the city of Leominster. You go to the polls, 5 wards, go to the city clerk's office and get your absentee ballot. Your vote will count. Your vote will put these candidates, some of these candidates, in office. Don't let one vote be a difference because you didn't do it. Thanks. Have a great night.